What if I told you that for over 50 years, racial segregation was perfectly legal in the United States because of one Supreme Court case? In 1896, the Supreme Court ruled that separate but equal was the law of the land. This decision, Plessy v. Ferguson, allowed racial segregation to spread across America and stay in place for decades. Let's break it down in 3 minutes. The late 1800s was a dangerous time for Black Americans. After the Civil War, slavery was abolished, but Southern states quickly passed Jim Crow laws to enforce racial segregation. In Louisiana, one of these laws required separate train cars for Black and white passengers. A group of civil rights activists wanted to challenge this law, and they had the perfect man for the job, Homer Plessy. Homer Plessy was 1/8 Black, but under Louisiana law, he was still considered a Black man. In 1892, he bought a first-class train ticket and sat in the whites-only section. When the conductor asked him to move, Plessy refused. He was arrested, taken to court, and fined. But this was part of the plan. Plessy and his supporters wanted to take this case all the way to the Supreme Court, and they did. In 1896, the Supreme Court ruled against Plessy in a 7-1 decision. The justices said that segregation was legal as long as the facilities were separate but equal. This meant states could continue forcing Black and white people to use separate schools, restaurants, buses, and even drinking fountains, as long as they were supposedly equal. Spoiler alert, they weren't. Only one justice, John Marshall Harlan, disagreed. He famously warned, "The Constitution is colorblind," but his words were ignored. This ruling made racial segregation the law of the land for nearly 60 years. It led to more discrimination, voter suppression, and violence against Black Americans, all under the excuse of separate but equal. But then, in 1954, everything changed. The Supreme Court finally admitted Plessy v. Ferguson was wrong when it ruled in Brown v. Board of Education that separate is never equal. This overturned Plessy and helped launch the civil rights movement. The Plessy v. Ferguson case is proof that the Supreme Court can uphold injustice for decades until people fight back and demand change. What do you think? Could something like this happen again? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more legal history made simple.